You guys sick of every single new character coming out in the game and a YouTube video comes out saying he's the best nuker ever, and then that video shows him a 350% crit damage with 100% crit rate in Savage gear, maxed out Grey Hall, etc.? Well, I got you. Today, this is a level 50 Magnarr, no books, no masteries, not even 100% crit rate, only doesn't even have a necklace level, okay? I want to show you what actual stats on an actual free-to-play level 50 Magnarr on an account that's actually using him to progress looks like. If that's something you guys are interested in, and that transparency and honesty, subscribe to this channel now, and I'll put out more of these level 50 realistic guides because I know that's what you guys will want to see. With that being said, let's get into it. Okay, let's talk about Magnarr. Magnarr is a character that people have been talking about a lot, but people have been showing him at level 60 in Savage gear, crit rate sets, 100% crit rate, 1,000,000 crit damage, defense piercing, all of that. Instead, this is going to be a level 50, completely unbooked, no masteries guide of Magnarr, level 50. So it's going to be a realistic expectation of what Magnarr is actually going to be like on a free-to-play account in case you are thinking of building him. Now, keep in mind, lifesteal and perception is what I have on him. His stats are not wonderful. He has 15,000 HP. Bonus, that is, he has only plus 49 speed, so just basically the boots and then a little bit. And then you can see here 90% crit rate, 84 crit damage. Debuff accuracy is only 65. So this is a very realistic expectation of what you can expect on this character. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to show you where I actually use this character. So if I go in here, he is currently part of my Spider 10 team. Now, you may be wondering why. He is the off affinity. So he is the wrong affinity for Spider. And because he is the wrong affinity for my current Spider dungeon, the Spiderlings attack him. Now, on top of him being attacked, he also does HP recovery off of HP burn. Now, I have, you can see here a Gaelic that's doing HP burn, which means that whenever anyone triggers HP burn and hits all the Spiderlings, he's going to get healed for a big chunk of health and effectively can be the tank that way. Obviously, I have some other AoEers in here as well that help clear some of the Spiderlings, but he is effectively our tank. Now, there's a few things to keep in mind for him. One of which is his basic attack with the decreased defense is pretty good. You don't really need him booked because if they have an HP burn on them, then the defense is 100%, and you're really using him for his A2, which is the AoE that's going to hit people twice if they are not under HP burn, and if they are under HP burn, you have a chance of stunning them. Now, you can book this ability to get the cooldown, but once again, this is an unbooked version, and I use him primarily as a tank, and I use him in Doom Tower as the aura lead, and I use him as his double hit to lifesteal as well. Now, if you have an HP burn person on a boss, like for instance, like here, we have HP burn on the boss, and we have defense down and attack down, etc., and we're attacking the boss. Now, we don't have HP burn on any of the other Spiderlings at this moment. So if we try doing the apply debuff spread, it's not going to go to anybody. It's only going to keep on the primary target. But there you saw HP burn goes off. We got some HP healing there as well from it. And now they're attacking the frog here because the frog stats are lower. There's the double attack, which once again clears, and he's back to tanking. So this team, for me, has been how I've been able to clear, because you can see at the later parts where he starts to get lower HP, etc., then what happens is the HP burn ends up going on more characters, and the heal from Apothecary and the protection and all that makes it where by the time the Spiderlings are taking turns, he's actually getting healed every single turn for more than the Spiderlings are even hitting them. You can see there's 318, 318, 318, just tons of health coming in, and that's primarily where I like to use this guy as it stands. I do think you can book him as he's very strong. I do think this character is going to become more and more nuts, and he is worth getting to level 60. I took the frog to 60 first instead because I needed protection and I need clan boss poison, but Magnarr is probably going to be my next 60. Plus, he's the opposite affinity of your starter. So if you're newer to the game and you got him, he's really good too, because you can put him plus your starter in and then clear through the campaign if they're both in lifesteal, because this guy will very easily continually regenerate health from the lifesteal, from the double hit. And then if you have Ninja instead of your starter as your 6-star, you can put him in with that too, because then he also double heals as well. So in my personal opinion, Magnarr is somebody who at level 50, no masteries, no books, is still 100% usable in a newer account or an account maybe where you're not at the point where you can 6-star this guy quite yet. You can still get pretty good use out of him in the early game. So I kind of wanted to get this video out here to just give a little bit of a breakdown of Magnarr for the early game phases. And now let me show you him in arena and some other dungeons. And there you go. You can see we cleared this, and the tanky aspect was a large part of how we were able to clear this. Now, I have been using him in campaign as well, like I mentioned, to get through Nightmare. I'm still climbing through Nightmare, and I use these 4 to get through just kind of a tanky lifesteal team is essentially what I'm using. He's a big part of that. However, in the dungeons, he's also a pretty big part. Right now, we have an Ice Golem Peak tournament going on, and I'm currently on this stage, stage 14, okay? Now, in order to beat this, I need a tank, and once again, he's going to be that tanky role. Now, I'm going to remove Lanicus because I actually want more HP and AoE damage here. I'm going to keep the lifesteal, and I'm going to keep the protection here. I'm actually going to put on more HP instead of the resistance, and we're going to try it like that. Now, the goal of him here is the same thing in the other one. He's going to try to tank as much as he possibly can. He's going to regenerate as much as he can with the lifesteal and the double AoE, and that's basically his entirety of his role. He also can try to get some stun up in comparison with Ninja's HP burn. So when we get on the last boss and we start HP burning 3 random people, he can also help stun some of the minions if he doesn't hit weak on that as well, which can be a pretty big deal. The provoke should help us get through some of the waves. And then when we get to the actual boss itself, hopefully the demon himself is going to be tanking from the little guys until we get to the point where we have them CC down. So as you can see, the other guys in my team are obviously doing a large part of it as well. I mean, Ninja and Gaelic are my strongest guys, and the Frog's going to help keep us alive. But the whole point of him that I'm using at the moment is to be extremely durable and still do a lot of damage. People are talking about him being a nuker, and him being a nuker is great. And they're right, that he is a nuker. But he's also on top of a nuker, because of the way his HP works and he's based upon HP, you can just build him as a pseudo tank with the wrong affinity in dungeons, and it helps a lot. So here you see we got the freeze, we got the double hit from him again, and the double hit's pretty decent damage. It's about as much as Gaelic's basic attack, for instance, on AoE. I'm not really worried about the decreased accuracy. There's the debuff spread, which isn't going to do anything because there's no HP burn on other people. And the way his debuff spread works is a little counterintuitive because it only spreads to people that have HP burn. So you have to attack somebody, and then other people that you're not attacking have to have the HP burn. So there you go. He's low HP once again. We got the provokes up, and now he is down, okay? So he doesn't tank all the way through on the very hardest one at the moment for me. So this is, again, a realistic guide, so I kind of want you to see where it's at. These are all my strongest characters in the team, and he, in fact, died, but he got us a pretty good chunk of the way through it, or at least assisted. So don't expect him to be able to survive. I mean, massive burst at level 50 with not great gear against these type of guys. So I want to actually show failure because I feel like the majority of the videos don't show failure. They just show him nuking everything. Here's Dragon 18. Haven't been able to beat it yet. I figure we'll give it a shot with this guy since he's the correct affinity. Let's see, it's Dragon, so I'm going to put in some resistance as well as the Frog just for tanky. It's this affinity, so I'm going to do Apothecary just for the speed up boost, this for the defense down, this for the AoE, obviously, and then as it stands, I think I still want to put in Ninja just for the HP burn and the freeze. So this is stage 18. Once again, no masteries, no books, full auto, a little bit of a supportive team, nothing too crazy. And I have not beat this yet, so let's kind of see how he handles himself. You can see he hit about 15,000 combined damage between the two. The HP burns are going there, which would once again regenerate if he needed health. We do the debuff spread to the people with the HP burns, which once again does not matter. And another boost. So far, so good. And this guy, we're going to go ahead and fast forward a little bit through here until it starts getting difficult. So they're getting turns. They managed to kill our War Maiden. War Maiden's almost always the character that dies in these waves because War Maiden has the worst gear out of everybody currently. I do have some okay lifesteal gear on Magnarr, just HP percentage stuff, nothing too crazy. And Apothecary is just as fast as I can get them. Then the Frog's as tanky as I can get them, basically. And that's about it. It's pretty simple builds all the way around. So we might lose Apothecary here, I would think. We got rid of one, managed to heal himself. We get the double hit there. And the other thing you could build on Magnarr is you could put him in a stun set because you see how he does the double hit and he does heal off the HP burn. So you could put him actually in a stun set and have him continually stunning people with the double hit. That's probably even the better way to do it. As it stands, I didn't put him in the stun set because, again, this is limited gear. I have lifesteal gear. It's mostly the login reward type stuff, and it's just what I have available, and I wanted to get a realistic video out of showing you what it actually looks like. So personally, I think Magnarr is somebody that I see Magnarr like this. He's an overall solid epic. He's somebody good to have in your toolkit. People saying that he's like, he's the next Trunda and all that. I can understand because you're probably taking Trunda's gear and putting it on him. Unfortunately, I don't believe anyone who's in the circumstance to use him currently as the nuker is more than likely in a circumstance to be able to benefit from him as the nuker, if that makes sense. I would argue the majority of the people that pull him, they're going to gain benefit out of him, probably going to put him in either lifesteal like you see here as a tank, or they're going to be putting him in stun sets in order to generate continual stuns to get through the waves with, you can see, people that actually stay alive since you get the double hit. I think that's probably where I'm going to end up using him the most once I get him to level 60, where he has enough HP regeneration from his passive that I can then, once again, swap his set out, put it in that stun, and he's going to be much better through the waves. As it stands, I do think the character is quite good. I don't regret getting him at all. I do think Cornelia would have been a little bit better in the early game, and Magnarr probably exceeds fairly decently into late game. I'm going to show you Arena, then we're going to wrap it up with some overall opinions. Show you a quick video of him in Arena. The problem with him in Arena is he is counter to basically everybody's, at the moment, he is the counter to everybody's affinity. I mean, it's a bummer because I'll show you, right? So if we put him in here, we go second, everyone's normally strong affinity against him. So because of the way the starters are. So he gets nuked pretty hard in Arena at the moment. I mean, obviously the tankier you get him, the better he's going to be. But at the moment, he kind of gets dumped on in the early game at the level 50 part, because you're going to see they go, the defense down doesn't land, but then look, he does a bajillion damage against him, right? And that's kind of where it's at. Now, obviously, if I could go first and all that, it'd be different, but what I'm trying to do right now is just give you guys some realistic examples of the damage he receives, etc. I'm not trying to be the best Magnarr in the game right now. I'm trying to show you what just a Magnarr at this stats looks like, because I believe that that's important information to have as well for people debating building him that might only get him up to the similar level and then maybe use him as a chicken or something. Like maybe someone wants to get him level 50, use him, and then put him as a chicken. However, there is one thing in particular he is really good at, and that's faction wars. I mentioned this a little bit earlier in the video, but he is my god when it comes to faction wars. I can't show it to you now because the factions are closed on the day I'm making this video. But he is, in fact, what I use to get through my faction wars. I was able to get through pretty much, I'll show you here actually real quick. Go to faction wars, I'll show you where's the demon spawn. Look at this, nine stars, and I do believe that actually includes getting through the boss there as well with him. So he is very good in the faction wars there as well, because he can double hit the people and the stun set and all that once again. So in my personal opinion, if you're thinking about building him, he's pretty good. Once again, the stats I used are very bad. I mean, the crit damage necklace is only +5. We have +12 helmet, which is the HP one, and I mean, blue pieces of gear, level 8 this. You get it. The stats are not great, but he's still performing better than people within his level with those stats would be. So I'm fairly happy with him. I'm going to 6-star him. I do believe he's best in a stun set. And yeah, there you go. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this type of stuff, because you guys are probably sick of seeing every new character out and 300% crit damage with Savage gear. So I'm trying my best to show this for realistic, free-to-play people. That being said, please subscribe if you enjoyed that. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next video.